NIST is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. This means that NIST has the responsibility to help ensure that measurements performed in the U.S. in a great many fields of science and technology are reliable and comparable to those made in other nations. In the field of analytical chemistry, NIST develops measurement methods and reference materials, including certified reference materials. The NIST version of those are called standard reference materials. NIST has some of the best in the world analytical expertise in various methods of chromatography and spectroscopy and electrochemistry, and even in classical methods of analysis, which are methods which have been given up by many laboratories because they're old and slow. But the fact is that they still give us some of the best answers that we can get using any technique, and so we still employ them here at NIST.
Elemental analysis is an integral part of modern society. For steel and cement and infrastructure projects, it's very important to know what the mix of elements is so that you know if they're strong enough to do their jobs. Or maybe you're a pharmaceutical manufacturer and you're interested in whether your final product has toxic elements present as a result of the manufacturing process. Or maybe you're putting fuel in your vehicle and you're interested in what elements are present and whether those elements could hurt the environment or the engine of your vehicle. In order to have confidence in an elemental analysis measurement, any measurements need to be calibrated against materials of known composition or standards. NIST makes standard reference materials, or SRMs, and the 3100 series are a set of SRMs that cover 67 elements of the periodic table. These reference materials are prepared from high purity elemental starting materials. The SRM is produced by dissolving these high purity materials in acid and diluting to the final product. The SRMs in the 3100 series are prepared gravimetrically, and in addition to that are certified using a second method, typically inductively coupled plasma optical emission spectroscopy, or ICP-OES. At NIST, a high-performance version of ICP-OES was developed in conjunction with the 3100 series SRMs. One of the most important things to remember is that these materials function as a traceable link back to the International System of Units, or SI. Traceability is important for commerce, decision-making, and innovation, and it ensures that multiple SI traceable measurements are comparable, so that if you have measurements made in different countries, or even decades apart, they're using the same ruler.
NIST responds to public health concerns. Arsenic tops the toxic substances list, and is particularly troubling not only because of its toxicity, but also the fact that the toxicity of arsenic is dependent on its chemical form. In recent years, FDA has issued an action level for arsenic species in apple juice. In response to this, NIST developed standard reference material 3035 arsenic species in apple juice. We purchased the apple juice commercially and adjusted the inorganic arsenic to the target levels and dispensed it into the vials. And we used 3 independent methods to measure the arsenic species. Since apple juice is made of water and sugar, the SRM is also applicable to any juice measurements as well as sweetened water.
I think it's really important for NIST to support the efforts of other agencies, in particular related to food, nutrition, and food safety. The FDA has a tough task of ensuring that food labels are accurate, and without the standards that NIST provides, that would be a very difficult thing for them to do.
One of the main ways NIST helps to ensure that food is safe for our consumption is developing reference materials as controls. And so these control materials are chemically tested to look at the values of either toxic elements or nutritional elements. A good example of a NIST reference material in the food program is SRM 1849A, Infant Adult Nutritional Formula. The Infant Formula Act of 1980 requires that certain nutrients fall within either a specified range or above a minimum amount. It is critical that manufacturers have a control material such as SRM 1849A to ensure that their labels are correct and they are meeting these regulatory needs. So AOAC International developed a 9-sector food triangle that basically puts foods in different sectors based on their fat, carbohydrate, and protein profiles. The idea was methods that are accurate and comparable within one sector for one or two foods. The methods should be accurate for all foods within that same sector. NIST expanded this idea into the development of their food SRMs. If a food SRM is in the same profile or same quadrant of the triangle and the same chemical composition, it will be useful as a control material.
NIST's programs in analytical chemistry impact nearly every industrial and technological field, including metals and alloys, gases, cements, pH, pure substances, energy, foods, clinical diagnostics, and newer areas such as metabolomics.
So we like to think that the presence of NIST, and because of what NIST does in the field of analytical chemistry, that analytical results produced in the U.S. and throughout the world are better. They're more accurate, more reliable, more comparable, and because of that, a great number of endeavors of industry and technology are facilitated. Things like quality control, process control, global commerce, decision-making in medicine and diagnostics, and a great many other topics of that sort.